r/Nosleep. Posted BYU astrangerplaceblog. People in my town are being replaced. My best friend's mom is the latest victim. Part 2. I looked at Katy's mom swathed in the comforter on the bed. She was fast asleep. Her arm was draped over her face. It looked pallid, the same ghostly shade of blue that differentiated the replacements from the humans. "Have you called your dad yet?" I asked. "No, he's still at the garage," Katy said. "He thinks she's just depressed or something." Katy's mom snored softly. "What happened?" "She was still asleep when I got back," Katy said, "but when she woke up, she came downstairs and asked me what she should make me for dinner. Dad has done all the cooking for the last 18 months. "That's weird," I said. "Yeah, I was suspicious. So I just told her, oh, make my favorite food in the world, and she was like, so, burgers? You hate ground meat," I muttered. "It's not her," Katy whispered, "that's not my mom." We went outside and sat on the porch swing for a while. Katy had brought out her blue notebook where she kept a list of all the replacements. She hesitated to write her mom's name down. "What the hell are we gonna do?" she said softly. I put my hand on her back. "We'll figure out a way to get your mom back. Even if we have to break into the lab. There must be some way to get her back." I fished the pack of Marlboro Golds out of my pocket and handed Katy one. I heard the soft padding of footsteps coming from the living room. Her mom was awake. She drifted around aimlessly in her airy gray pajamas. We watched her through the screen door. She stood in the kitchen and lifted one dish out of the sink. She examined it, turning it in her hands, and then placed it back on the pile. "That's weird," I whispered. "It's like she's never seen a plate before." Her mom veered toward us and we scrambled to divert our eyes. Katy lit her cigarette and held the lighter out towards me. Her mom pushed open the screen door and leaned out towards us. "Katy!" she shouted, "why are you lighting a cigarette with an open flame in the house? Are you out of your damn mind?" "We're on the porch, Ma," Katy said. "I don't care. Just put that flame out." The screen door slammed shut behind her as she headed inside and back upstairs. "She's never cared about me smoking on the porch before," Katy said. We sat in silence for a long time. My head was a muddle of fuzzy possibilities, scanning through everything I'd gathered in the hopes of getting Katy's mom back. Suddenly, it came to me. "That's it," I said, "they hate fire. Or smoking." "What?" "The loud alarm when I lit the cigarette outside of the lab? And in homeroom today, Trent McKenna moved away from me because I smelled like smoke. They must be terrified of fire and smoke." Katy nodded. She looked stoic, the way she often looked before she was about to cry. "I could smoke her out," she said, "make her prove she's not my mom." She got up from the porch swing and went into their shed, returning seconds later with a red canister of gasoline. "What the hell are you doing?" I asked. "Can I borrow your pack of cigarettes?" Katy said. She had a manic look in her eyes. Little baby hairs around her temples stuck out, illuminated by the afternoon sun. I handed her the pack and followed her inside. Upstairs, her mom was bundled in the comforter again. She threw it off and stood up when she saw Katy approach with a can of gas. "I've decided to quit smoking," Katy said definitively. "Good for you, honey," her mom said, "but why are you carrying that?" Katy threw the pack of Marlboros on the floor in front of her mother and doused it with gasoline. Making it official, Katy said, "Now, tell me. Who are you?" I stood in the doorframe, stunned. "What do you mean? I'm your mother," Katy's mom shouted. "Where did they take her?" Katy screamed, "What are they doing to her?" "I don't know, honey, we've talked about this. You are not my mother. Tell me where she is." Katy was roaring now. She brandished her pastel palm tree-covered lighter from her pocket and held it behind her back. "Katy, don't," I said, but my voice sounded so quiet amidst their shouting. It was like I was talking in a dream. "I am. Please, Katy. I don't know what you're talking about." "Get out. Get out," Katy screamed. She dropped the lighter into the pool of gas. The room was lit with an orange hue immediately, snaking from the pack of Marlboros across the floor, and finally to her mother's gray pajamas. Flames licked up her body and for one instant, she was a pillar of fire. "I don't need a lawyer, I'll talk," I said to the cop who was sent in to interview me. He was wearing a wide-brimmed hat like he was in a Wild West movie. Lackahaxon County Police read his badge. "You said Katy believed her mom had been replaced?" he asked me, opening a yellow legal pad. "Yes. By some kind of clone." And this was an ongoing theory you and Katy were developing? That people in Lackey Hexen were being systematically replaced? Yes, I answered. An empty bottle of Nestlé chocolate milk rattled on the metal table. And who is doing this replacing? He asked. The government. Or specifically, the lab at the nuclear power plant. So they could experiment on people. The cop started laughing. Not chuckling under his breath, but really laughing. I narrowed my eyes at him. You think I'm crazy, I said. No, I just think you're not thinking big enough. What do you mean? I asked. He set his hat down on the table next to the bottle. The government isn't stealing people in Lackey Hexen. We are? What? The room spun around me. It was stratified with bright light and a rhythmic pulsing that buzzed in my ears. The cop's body fell away, melting like candle wax. He became a painful orb of light, moving erratically in all directions, terrifying in its ambiguity. I felt faint. Suddenly, it snapped into focus and I was staring at the cop again. Just as I thought, you're too weak to perceive my true form, he said. What are you? The old ones. The good people. We can inhabit any form we choose, your teachers, your friends, your mothers, your police officers. We're the ones replacing people in Lackey Hexen. Why? I asked. We used to inhabit this land before your race of humans settled it. You drove us underground. We want it back and we'll replace every human in this town until only we remain. Who have you taken? About 70 people so far. Funny how many humans you can replace without anyone noticing. Did you take Katy's mom? I asked. No. We had no plans to take her yet. I swallowed. Who are you going to take next? I asked. The old one flipped the pages of the yellow legal pad and folded his hands in his lap. Due to this little incident, I suppose we will be taking you.